I know, I really enjoyed your skillfully developed visual essay on the Boston Logan 9/11 memorial. I did have some questions. I actually very much liked the use of sound. I thought that was very skillfully done, the way that the video opens and closes with the environmental sound, which of course exists is audible within the memorial of the of course of the uh, jet noise, which is signals, of course, as sort of the crash, and you intensify that in a way that actually I was a little maybe troubled by, with the photograph first of the untouched towers and then the explosion. I mean, it just maybe seemed a little over the top. Those images are so powerful and potent. I always think we have to be careful about bringing them up, and yet it was certainly usefully done with the sound. Um, I also loved the sirens. I thought that was a very nice effect, signaling the issue of the firemen, which then you come back to with the fire plug a little bit later. Uh, I guess I was interested as well, maybe about four different aspects of the memorial that you called some attention to. One of those panels, those sort of broken up on the roof, that give us not a sense of complete enclosure, and I think partly that's about we should feel a little destabilized, a little worried about feeling a little open and exposed, obviously, in this kind of memorial. Uh, I wondered about the effect it had on light, the sort of reflective, the shadows, the dappled quality that breaks things up. I think you're right, probably, about a sense of the falling of the towers, but maybe also a little more horrifically the falling of bodies being evoked from the towers, and maybe the breakup of at least one of the airplanes in the air, or that sense of the fragility not only of human life, as you suggest, but also the fragility of the you know of the airplanes, the fuselage disintegrating, and maybe that's evoked as well. And then there were maybe a few other things that I wondered about. One is there are some uncanny ways in which uh, this could be thought of uh, as a nationalist memorial, but maybe not. I'd like to hear more about your thoughts on that. Is there a sort of redemptive nationalist reading, or is this more in the lines of a counter memorial, as Lupu talks about? How exactly do you see its relationship? I wasn't quite sure where flags were located and so forth. If this is about the dead having been lost, but nonetheless we are all collectively sort of revivified, re-energized by their loss, as in military memorials. Is that what's going on here? Or is this rather different than that? Uh, then I also wondered about the ways in which this might sort of reduplicate a departure lounge. With the all the different meanings of departure uh, signaled there. And in that reference, I keep on wondering about this more, why it stuck out, as you point out, out near the Hilton, in between the highways, in a space that hardly any visitors will ever even see or know about. In other words, it would have been possible, surely, to put it in a major terminal so that everybody, millions of people, would have encountered it each year. I can only assume that the airlines wouldn't stand for that idea because they didn't want everybody reminded forcefully, even though they sort of think about this every time they go through security, of the enormous of this terrible danger and tragedy associated with air travel. So it's fascinating, it seems to me, that while the memorial kind of had to happen, maybe especially at Logan, which was sort of presented as bearing a certain degree of responsibility for lack of security, at the same time it has to be exiled from the actual terminals where almost everybody will see it, and sort of put somewhere where it's both kind of visible and invisible. It's sort of hiding in the light in that sense. So that's another curious feature of this memorial, a memorial that almost dares not speak its name for the broader public that moves in and out of the airport. So it's another strange example of the structural amnesia that's necessarily built into certain kinds of memorial projects that are deeply disturbing to people. But a really great effort. I was really provoked by your essay. Thanks.